Episode 5, Either or versus both and. Over time, most of the financial choices we make are either or decisions. So if we save $1, then that's $1 less that we can't spend. Or if we spend the dollar, that's $1 less that we can't save. So either way, if we pay $100 to our credit card, or we can save that $100, but we can't do both. So we have to decide between using our money or saving it. And it's important to understand that we finance everything we buy. So we typically have two choices, either cash or debt. And we can use debt and pay somebody else interest, or we can use cash and give up the interest that our money could have made. So I think it's safe to say that most of us will buy a new vehicle every 5 years or so, right? And cars are tangible, and we could see ourselves buying multiple cars over our lifetime. So I want to use that as an example. So here's what we're going to do now. Let's look at how we would end up financially after buying 5 new cars over the next 25 years using each example of the traditional debt method, the cash option, and our new family bank option. So if we buy 5 cars, the exact same car for the exact same price in each scenario, here's how it ends up. So option 1, with the traditional financing method, we pay $25,000 for the car, plus we have to pay interest. So that'll probably end up being about $5,000 or a $500 a month car payment. So we end up in total paying $30,000 for the car. And then in 5 years, we pay off the car, and then we do it again to buy our next car. And then 25 years down the road, we will have bought 5 cars. So how do we end up? So we end up with $150,000 in the hole, and all we have to show for it is a 5-year-old car. So option number 2, the cash method, it's a little bit better because we don't pay any interest, but the car payments never really go away, because as soon as we buy the car, then we have to start saving that same amount that we would have been spending on a monthly payment. That way we have the money ready to buy our next car in 5 years' time. And if you look at it, we're still not gaining any interest on that money that we're saving in the bank because they just don't pay that much. So we're still breaking money rule number 2. So we do this for the next 25 years, and we end up a little bit better because we've only spent $125,000 on the cars, but we still end up with 0 in our bank account and $125,000 in the hole and a 5-year-old car. Option 3. Now let's look at the family banking option. It works very similar to the previous method, and we only pay $25,000 for the car because we don't pay any interest. Now here's where it gets good for us. Our $25,000 is put to work 2 times for us. Once to purchase the car, and once again in our family bank earning interest for us over the next 5 years. So now we're still going to pay our family bank $500 a month because we have to pay our loan back, just like we do with any other option. But unlike those other options, who owns our family bank? That's right, we do. And so who's getting the benefit of those interest payments? That's right, we are. So in 25 years, how do we end up? Well, we will have spent $125,000 and have a 5-year-old car, and we'll also have $131,709 in our family bank. And we can use that for our next car purchase, our retirement, our next trip, or whatever we want. So if we compare the end results after 25 years, option 1, the traditional method that most of us are used to, we borrow the money, we'll end up spending $150,000 on cars, and we end up with 0 in our bank account. In option 2, we save the money and we buy our cars with cash, so we'll end up spending $125,000 on cars, and we end up with 0 in our bank account. Same place, right? In option 3, we spend $125,000 on cars, we end up with $131,709 in our family bank account. So which is the better option?